Hi there, gang. Welcome to OSF TV. It's our stressfreewedding.com. I'm Sean, and of course, I'm joined by my good buddy, Mr. Andrew Cruz. How we doing?
Wonderful.
Wonderful. This is episode 24.
24.
We got our buddy Josh here, and we're going to talk videography.
Yeah.
But first, big question of the day. Following up from our last show, how goes the campaign for more Andrew time?
Comments are still flooding in.
Flooding in.
I just don't have time to read them all.
I've noticed by the ones, I mean, they are just, if you read one word at a time, it really will eat up a good 16 seconds of your life.
I mean, count that high. And I taught math. Yeah, that's yikes.
But last show, I mean, seriously, on a positive note, episode 23, Carolyn from I Tie the Knots Weddings in Omaha. I was blown away by that show.
It was wonderful.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, just two things. Like you had brought up earlier about finances and how so many couples lead into financial issues and how quickly that can lead to divorce and a breakdown of the family. And what did she say is there's two main problems that are the two biggest problems that cause in a wedding, and it's finances and finances. Is the way that she put it. And she's so spot on with that. And one of the things that she had recommended doing, that she recommends with her services, is they do a class.
SYMBIS, I think. Save your marriage before it starts.
Yes.
Yeah, that acronym.
Absolutely incredible. And because of those classes, she said they had a 31% decrease in divorce.
It gives you some great things to think about too, have you ever thought about this or talked about this, or
I mean, it gets into pets, it gets into everything.
Parenting styles, money. Just check it out. It's awesome.
Last episode. Trust us, it's well worth watching. It is great. We also talked a little bit about the new photo galleries, which are available now on the platform. You can love that. If you are a photographer and you would like to change what you currently have on your package, talk to us about it, because we can now include all kinds of beautiful photo gallery options within your listing. And speaking of listings, this to me is really exciting. Like for our show today, for example, Josh reached out to us. Let's bring Josh in early. We're gonna go out of order for a second. So Josh, how we doing, buddy?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm wonderful, thank you. So this is kind of neat. You reached out to us initially to join the platform. So before we get into what you do, let's talk about why. Why did you reach out to us to join?
So I was just scrolling through Facebook another day, looking through, and I found a post on one of the many Iowa wedding Facebook groups, right? And I saw them looking for a photographer and a videographer. And I think there was like 97 comments on it of people being like, hey, hire me. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't need to comment on this. They're pretty sorted. The recommended comment on there, though, was from you guys saying, hey, there's a ton of people commenting on this, but if you want to find good people with good reviews, check out our website. And I was like, oh, interesting. So clicked on it, had a look around, saw that it was, an actual Iowa-focused, essentially The Knot, but better.
See, this is where he gets something. A little
points.
cha-ching. We got a little star by his name.
And we'll bring him back. So I had a look, and then, that was it. And I thought, okay, cool, yeah, I'll be a part of this. Why not?
I love it. So, you filled out an application with us, and that's an important distinction when it comes to the platform. So at ourstressfreewedding.com, just if this is your first show, just so you're aware, Josh had mentioned the Knot Wedding Wire. There's a lot of national great big planning platforms that are out there. And one of the things that almost kind of caused us to start Our Stress Free Wedding in the first place is we are not an open forum. So you cannot, as a wedding professional on any level, just click sign up and ta-da, you have an account with us. That's not the way it works. The way that it works with us is we pre-qualify. We vet every one of the vendors that are on the platform. So when Josh first reached out, you had filled out an application. You and I had a great conversation and talked about, why you love doing what you do, how long you've been in the business, kind of your background, and just reviews and everything that we talked about to get you onto the platform. And we do that to make sure that everybody who is there is heading in the right direction. Everybody at ourstressfreewedding.com has that same mindset that you have. And we're going to dive into that a lot more deeper on this show. That is great. Let's talk about Voigt Media. Last name right?
That's right.
Voigt?
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. I probably should ask that before the show. No, it's actually pronounced Smith.
Yep.
Like, oh, totally got that wrong.
Ignore the V and the T.
So Josh is a videographer, and not only is he a video, he brought his own camera.
I did.
And a much nicer camera than we have. I don't even want to turn one of our cameras to show it. Just know that right off to my right now, there's just a really expensive, beautiful video camera next to us.
Got to record myself with the content, right?
Right? No, use it.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, how did you get started in all of this?
Sure. So I started videography in college, right? I had no idea what I wanted to do in college. Started out in the broadcast program. So started doing broadcasting sports and stuff like that. And it got to the point where the news station said, hey, would you mind just making a couple of sports packages for us? And I was like, sure, why not? And so people started getting used to seeing me with a camera in my hand and, being at all the places around the school. And eventually someone said, hey, will you make a promo video for our organization? And I was like, sure, why not? Give it a go. So made it, looked good. And then the marketing department saw that and said, hey, we have an open spot for an intern this summer. Do you want to be an intern this summer? I was like, sure, why not? I've got nothing else going on. I might as well. 3 weeks into that summer, the full-time videographer gets fired. So he's out. Suddenly, I'm the only person on the whole campus who knows how to make videos. So it went from having made one video to I have to learn how to work this stuff very quickly.
Now you went to Wartburg,
Wartburg
right?
College, yep.
And I got to ask, because I noticed, I don't know if Andrew, did you pick up on this? He's got a slight accent.
Slight.
A little bit.
One.
Just a little bit. Yeah, I'm thinking like the Owine area. Right? Owine, New Hartford?
About that, yeah.
Somewhere in there. So where are you from originally?
I'm from South Africa. So
Oh,
South
yeah,
Africa.
pretty close.
Pretty close. So close to Owine.
That would have been the second guess. Yeah.
How did you go from South Africa to Wartburg in Waverly, Iowa?
Sure. So I graduated from an international high school. So my graduating class was 122 people from about 65 different countries.
Really?
Which was awesome.
Okay, so another question.
Yep.
International high school. I'm gonna, because this is interesting to me because we don't have stuff like that in the U.S. What is an international? Is that so? You've got your normal high school where idiots like me go to, and then there's some I go to the international high school. So how does that work?
That is correct. Yeah. So basically, it's called the UWC, so United World Colleges Program. So there's 20 different campuses around the world, all over the place. So people can apply to, every country has its own national committee, it's called. If you get into the national committee, you can go to any one of these 20 high schools.
Really?
Yeah. So mine was, 30 minutes down the road. So I was like, I'm just going to go to that one.
Really?
Does that make sense? So yeah, that was pretty much it. My best friends were from Norway, Germany, obviously a couple of South Africans, and then a guy from Denmark.
How cool is that?
That was my friend group. Yeah.
So even at the high school level, I mean, did you dabble anything with videography at that? So that wasn't even on your radar until you get to school.
I think I'd taken one photo on my dad's camera before I came to the US.
Really?
Just sort of. And then my dad bought me a little, point and shoot camera.
Yeah.
And I think I took photos with it. We went out on a safari at one point, and I took a few photos on it, and then it got stolen. And so that was that.
And of course, being from South Africa, obviously good friends with Elon Musk.
Yep.
So
naturally.
we're waiting. Hey, if the Twitter thing doesn't work, I think we can work out a better deal.
Yeah. He can come be a second shooter for me.
That's exactly where I was going with that. If you're looking for work, come work for Josh.
There we go.
That's
I'll take a Tesla.
if this whole electric car thing, if it doesn't work, if the SpaceX thing doesn't work,
Who needs Mars when we have third camera angles?
I'm okay with that.
So yeah, I'll take it.
So Elon, just message us. Just
pop
go
on
ahead,
over,
hit up, like and subscribe. There we go. We'll come back to that. So you get to Wartburg.
Yep.
They literally kind of throw you
In the deep end. Yeah.
into the deep end of
Which,
this.
and don't get me wrong, I was loving every second of it.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Being able to deep dive into the programs, figure out how all the graphic stuff worked, figure out how the cameras. I mean, the first video I made, I remember going to the photographer, being like, how do lenses work?
So
I had no
really
idea.
started at zero.
No clue how any of this stuff worked. And it was like, hey, you're making a video with the president today. Great. Cool. How do I focus? What is that? Yeah. I had no idea. I remember I took a photo of the settings so I could look back at it. And I don't know if you know much about cameras, but there's something called ISO, which is how much sensitivity the camera has. So how, if it's really dark, you can pump the ISO up so you can see more.
Okay.
But then it gets really grainy and messy, right?
Okay.
And I look back at the settings now, and I was at the highest ISO level.
So just bright.
So it was super bright. It was super grainy, like really bad to look at. Didn't look good. So we had to go reshoot it because it looked dreadful. But I was like, okay, cool, lesson learned. That was like that whole summer was just week after week repeating doing that.
But I think self-taught is the best kind of way to learn. It's like the hot stove theory. When you are growing up, your parents tell you, "Don't touch that; it's hot.
Right.
Don't touch that; it's hot." And at some point, you're like,
You're going to touch it.
You're going to touch it,
Yep.
and then you'll never touch it again.
Yep.
Right. So self-taught are the best lessons. So what were you originally going to go to school for? What was your degree?
I initially was going to do biology, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then that didn't work. So discovered pretty quickly. I was like, no, I actually don't want to do this for the rest of my life.
So did you switch your emphasis in school towards things like videography?
three days in. I don't even think I'd taken a biology class yet. I was just like, no, I'm good. I looked at the syllabus and I was like,
I don't get to use a camera during any of these.
Yeah. So switched over. That summer went great. It was super fun, super good. And then the next year, I was still working for the marketing department. They had a new video guy, and making videos with friends and stuff. And then someone said, "Hey, would you do a wedding video for us?" And I was like, at that point, I'm just exploring, doing all different kinds of videos that I can do, figuring it out, trying to, just trying to figure out what I enjoy.
Yeah.
And so I said, yeah, I'll do that. And then did the video. It was fun. It was good. But I remember thinking, cool, done with weddings. No, that was fun. I've done one. It was a good experience. I enjoyed it, but I don't see that being something I do.
Okay.
And then graduated 2020.
Great timing.
Great time to
Yep.
graduate.
Great. New decade.
Yep.
It was an exciting year. Everybody watched all of Amazon Prime.
Yep.
All of it.
Shortage of
Every
toilet paper, I think.
There was some kind of paper thing.
Yep.
Tiger
Yep.
King. The list goes on.
Tiger King was good.
I forgot
I
about
enjoyed that one.
Tiger King.
Oh man.
So
So many flashbacks. Yeah.
I've never seen an episode.
I'm so sorry.
No. All right, so you're from South Africa. I have to ask, because we were talking about this before the show. Everybody in the world has seen Trading Places. Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd. Have you seen it?
No, I have not. No.
Thank you.
What's wrong with
Have you
people?
not?
No, I haven't.
He hasn't.
And
So
I'm about to be
when you say
ostracized.
everyone in the world, you mean you.
Yes. Yes.
exclusively,
If
yeah.
more people realize that the world operates better around Sean, it would be a much happier place.
See the movies he's seen. He's going to put out a list and
Yep.
watch them.
This episode will be accompanied by a PDF.
Have you seen A Fish Called Wanda?
No.
All right, we're going to stop the show. We're just going to play movies
just
for
gonna
the
watch
rest of the
that,
show. Yep, everybody get comfortable.
Good thing we've got a couple of big TVs around.
Right.
All right, back on subject. So you do a wedding.
Yep.
And you think, I'm good.
Yeah.
So
it was fun. It was good. I enjoyed it.
what happened after that? What
Well,
kind of
so
pushed you forward?
graduation comes around, right? And I had a couple of job prospects lined up, and then obviously those disappeared out of thin air. And so I was like trying to figure out what to do, trying to figure out what I was, where I was going to go, what was going to happen. And friend of a friend of a friend of a friend reaches out and says, hey, my grandparents can't make it to my wedding. Can you live stream it for us?
Okay.
Because I've been working in broadcast. And I said, sure. Do you want me to make you a video while I'm doing that? And they said, yeah, that'd be great. Made the video, shared it on Facebook. Again, same sort of thing. Everyone was like, oh, that was good. It was fun. Whatever. Someone else contacts me and says the same thing. Grandparents can't make it. Can you live stream it for us and make us a video at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, why not? That person's mom was like Facebook diva extraordinaire. Like anytime anyone mentioned wedding in Iowa anywhere on Facebook, she was commenting my name. And just like that, I have a business.
That's outstanding. What a cool start.
It was awesome. I had not expected it at all. Wasn't anticipating doing this. Found a full-time job working in marketing, doing TV commercials and stuff. And then every second weekend I was making a wedding video.
I think about when I first started. I started DJing in college, and honestly, my wife hates this story. But the reason I started DJing in college was because it was a great way to get free beer and meet girls. And I was a bar DJ, and started with that, and then got into weddings, and never had any thought of taking it farther.
Right.
I was actually going to be an attorney. That was my plan. Then I realized
pretty different life.
I hate
paths.
ties, so it just wouldn't work out for me. But as I kind of grew into it, very very similar. You find out that hey, wow, I'm actually kind of good at it.
Yeah.
And people kind of like what you're doing and they respond. And as you, again, kind of self-taught and you learn and you grow into that, I think you become stronger at what you're doing as opposed to, taking specific classes on the camera and all the tech stuff. When you learn that stuff yourself and it's kind of that trial and error as you go, you're perfecting your craft even that much more. And so you get to the internet level where you now become a giant internet sensation in Iowa, which, hey, you know what? You'll take it. How did you feel as you kind of started transitioning into even now working with people that you really didn't know? Because, you started out kind of with family and with friends of family, so you're in that comfort zone. So as you start kind of transitioning over to working with people whom you don't have that connection with, how did that kind of feel for you?
I mean, it was honestly a lot of fun. I mean, I'm a big, I enjoy meeting people. I big on being outgoing and meeting people, trying new things. And so I remember doing some of those first weddings and just trying to meet everyone at the wedding. I was like, I'm going to meet every single person. I'm going to have every single person remember, try and have a good memory with me. And then just doing everything I could to capture every single little moment on that wedding day. And I remember trying some crazy stuff. I mean, I was hanging out of windows from the sides of barns and stuff, just trying to get different angles.
Really?
And it was crazy, crazy fun being experimental, just trying to figure things out. I had a little camera that I bought in college that, could shoot 4K and was like, woo. I was trying all these different things because why the hell not? And yeah, that's pretty much what the whole first year was just try different things and splice it up together as best you can. And yeah, it turned out pretty well.
I think that's outstanding. I love that. And obviously people like what they saw, so you continue to grow from there. How big of a coverage area do you go in now?
Pretty much all over the state. Mostly in the area, so probably within an hour and a half of Cedar Falls. But yeah, I mean, I actually just this last weekend was up in Minnesota.
Whereabouts?
So Rochester, just outside of Rochester.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I grew up in the Twin Cities, so just,
nice.
just
Yeah.
north of Rochester. So been there plenty of times. And that's one of the great things, with photographers, videographers, DJs, as long as they're willing to pay, you're willing to go, right? As soon as somebody calls you up and, hey, we're doing a wedding in Hawaii, we really need a videographer, you're probably gonna be like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll take that. I'm gonna bring my wife as a second shooter.
What is it? She's Vicky Photography.
Yeah.
Just came out with us a little bit ago. She has kind of created almost like a little niche for traveling and shooting. I think she's been to Hawaii 5 or 6 times in the last year.
Nice.
With various couples and clients. I'm like, man, I made the wrong choice.
Gonna take up a residency or something there,
No. Speaking of which, I changed my picture. See in the background? My good friend Chris Sebo. I put on. He watches the show. He's in Hawaii and he's in Honolulu. An artist out there. This is all. If you can see this picture behind me, that's spray paint work. It's this
side.
shoulder.
There
Yep,
you
there.
go.
Hey, look right there. Yeah, I can't remember what hands. That's spray paint. Is how he does that.
Gorgeous.
He started out as just kind of a street guy, with cardboard, simple stuff like that. He has his art in galleries all across the islands. I think he's got some in Japan now. I mean, just blew up, and he's one of those guys that just worked and worked and worked his way up. He's fantastic. So I wanted to get his art on the show because it's I love it. Our whole house is all every time I feel I really need to get back to Hawaii, I just look at the walls. I'm like. Oh, it's still not the same. I still need to be there.
So yeah, that probably doesn't help that feeling.
No, it's torturous. Thank you. So, tell me about meeting with couples. So when
Sure.
how are people finding you right now?
So right now it's again a lot of referrals. So most of my work comes from referrals. I run a couple of ads every now and then, but that's mostly just to try and get my name out there a little bit. But yeah, I mean mostly it's people who know people that I've done their weddings before, people who have known me through college. Yeah, That's
Word
the
of mouth
majority
is
of it.
it's always the best advertising.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that we have worked real hard with Ultimate Entertainment. Is it you know when you do a great job,
Mm-hmm.
people are going to not only talk about you, but they're going to remember you.
Right.
And as a videographer, a friend of ours brought up a great point. It was also a videographer, and he had mentioned that photographers capture each individual moment. The videographer tells the story
Yep.
of the day. And I think that's so important because there is, and Andrew, you would agree with me on this, the videographers, especially in Iowa, in my humble opinion, there is such a small number of truly great videographers out there.
For sure.
I mean, we were at a wedding once, or I did one, it was south of Des Moines. And I know he was the videographer because he had a little shirt that said, like Bob's Video on it or something like that. But literally, this guy was using his phone, and he was the videographer. And I'm like, oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They're paying for that, and you get kind of a bad rep for that, and it's so wrong because a great videographer does such an amazing job of not only capturing the day, but then editing it and putting it together because, at a wedding, there's so many things going on and that couple is surrounded by so many moving parts throughout the day that they literally miss, 80% of their day. And leaning out of a barn window, you're capturing those moments. So when they actually go back and rewatch it, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. Stuff like that, I think makes a giant difference, and finding the right kind of videographer for that is where that difference comes from.
Right. I always tell my couples that the biggest difference between a photographer and a videographer is you can't hear a photo.
Ooh.
Right. So they can capture 5 photos of someone giving a speech.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to remember what the person said.
That's 100% true.
Whereas, with video, I can get the same angle. I can get those same 5 frames, but you can also hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
And that, at the end of it, that's why I do it, is because
like with video, I mean, when it comes because as I noticed when you brought your expensive fancy camera, you mic'd yourself up as well.
Yep.
So talk about a little bit of kind of the tech process of that. For the ceremony, are you miking up the bride and groom as well, or how far in detail do you go with that?
So one thing I pride myself on is a lot of videographers will come with like 6 cases of stuff to weddings, right? I fit everything in a backpack. I now bring 3 cameras with me to weddings. I know exactly what lens goes on each camera before I leave. I don't bring any extra lenses. That's it. So I've got my 3 cameras, my drone, 5 microphones. That's it. That's what I bring.
Okay.
So, during the getting ready part, I've got a microphone inside the bride's dress that's going to stay on her pretty much the whole day. I've got a microphone on the groom. I've got a microphone on the officiant. I plug into the DJ's soundboard because that's the easiest way to do it.
Right.
And then if there's anyone else giving, some people do readings, some people will talk during the ceremony, stuff like that. If there's anyone else talking, I'll put a microphone on them or somewhere near their microphone.
Well, plus if you're plugged into the DJ's board, they're usually using the DJ's mic, so you're capturing any of the sound that's coming from the DJ side anyway. So you get that.
I'm also a big fan of redundancy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The more options I have, the happier I am. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I used to, when I started out, I had one microphone on the groom. And that was it. And I'd use that microphone to pick up everyone's audio. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, okay, I don't know how I did that. I have no idea how I made films that looked or sounded even remotely good without having a microphone on each. And I mean, imagine if we just had a microphone in the middle of the room here.
Right.
Sure, you can hear it, but it's not good. It doesn't sound great.
Right.
So now, I prioritize audio instead of visual.
Sure. Because the camera's doing the work for you. I mean, you've got your shots. You know where you're kind of going with that.
Right.
And one of the nice things from the ceremony side in particular is it's pretty static.
Right.
So you don't have to have a lot of moving parts with that. It's more capturing the moment, the emotion, the words of that, the text of it. So you've got all of that in place, and then you're able to kind of put that together for them as a full package. So with the cameras, explain you're bringing 3 different cameras. How are you doing that? Are you using them all 3? Do you have them as backups?
Sure.
How does that break down?
So typically, what I've done when I was shooting with 2 cameras, I would have one camera on my hand, with me, and then one camera right at the back of the aisle. That I'd hit the record button and leave it alone.
Sure.
Until the whole thing was done. Now that I've got a third, it's I've got them on the outside so that there's nothing blocking anyone's path at the back, and one on the groom, one on the bride, and then again the third one with me. But if one of those cameras fails, I mean, the majority of the time I've been doing this, I've been using 2. So then I can just move the one that's still working around to the back and still be golden.
Right. So all of them are recording.
All of them recording
And that
during
way
the
that gives
during
you, like,
ceremony
during
and
editing and
speeches.
stuff. Sure.
Yeah. The rest of the time is just I've got the camera in my hand.
Right on.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love it. So we're going to dive more into that. We're going to dive more into how you work with your couples, kind of the brainstorming, the connections, and basic stuff like that. But first, you had mentioned you had watched a couple of our previous shows.
Yep.
And obviously, you liked and subscribed.
Yes.
At part of that. And one of the main reasons that people like and subscribe is a moment that we like to refer to as the Andrew moment of the show. And this has evolved because Andrew's mom, who has been famously mentioned at every show that we have done so far, right? And we love Andrew's mom because the very first show we ever did, Andrew's mom emailed me and she's like, "Hey, great show. Andrew didn't get to talk very much, did he?" I'm like, "Ooh, sorry, Mom." So we have evolved to about the halfway into the show into this moment that happens in 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, you're watching Our Stress Free Wedding TV. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to hit that the like button, smash the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications, and comment your comments in the comment section below. If you have any ideas for future topics or guests you want on the show, definitely let us know. Didn't mean to rhyme there, but
That was
that's how it goes.
That was a total flow right there. You are the Eminem of OSF TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, boy. So comment your comment in the comment section. We need to make a shirt of that.
I can make it happen.
I think we can make. I need to put something.
You should make that your background.
Right? We need it. We need something with that. Comment your comment in the comments section.
Because he's got the on-air thing behind him.
Yeah.
I do.
Where's my prop?
Hey, that was my Father's Day present. My wifey got that
I'm
for
not a
me.
father.
I know. Ha. and they're centered now. Because remember when I first put them up there, I was verbally attacked by you about them not being.
Well, the shadow
even.
behind your Our Stress Free, it looked like some kind of like board backing. And
It does give it a little bit.
I was mistaken. I was like, that's not level. And you're like,
No, actually, it was crooked as hell. I had our maintenance guy, Bob, who is awesome here at the office. He came in the day after you viciously attacked me about that. And I'm like, "Bob, can you fix that and hide all the cords?" And he laughed at me. He's like, "It is kind of crooked, isn't it?" I'm like, "Well, not if you look at it like this."
it's because you're wearing one shoe.
No, so he lowered it and then he centered it, and we got a pretty light on it.
It looks pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. See, my new friend Josh knows. And he brought his own camera. What'd you bring, Andrew? Criticisms.
Yeah.
And rhymes.
and mad rhymes.
yeah.
Mad rhymes. To comment your comment in the comment sections.
Wicka
I
wicka.
love it. You should be a DJ.
I should. Do you know anyone hiring?
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe. We are talking to Josh with Voigt Media, based out of right here in Cedar Falls, as a matter of fact. He's a local boy, all the way from South Africa to here. So, do you
About as local as it gets. Yeah.
right? Do you get a chance to get home?
Haven't been since 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume still a lot of
travel,
family there.
yeah.
Like, how long of a flight? It's got to
So-
be like what, 5 hours, 4 hours?
Yeah.
Somewhere
So
in there.
first time I came, I went from South Africa to London, which was 11 hours, and then London to Chicago, which was 8 hours, and then Chicago to Waterloo, which is like 45 minutes. Yeah. But it's
Like a 19-hour flight.
It's only 8 hours from London to Chicago.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's shorter to go.
I guess
from
you're going
Europe to the Midwest than it is from the Midwest to Hawaii.
I guess the time zones you're going back in time, so it's like
Don't know if that's what
you
makes the
leave
difference.
at you leave at 3 p.m. going backwards west.
Go ahead,
That's-
keep going, math guy.
I know that's
We'll
it's a
get there
it's a
eventually.
6 hour time difference. So if you leave at like what 3 p.m. Do they use AM PM? I know they use the metric
No.
system.
Yeah, no, it's totally different.
So that would be 1,500 hours military time. Something you go back and it's
Divided by
1,500
pi.
hours. Yeah.
yeah, subtract 3.
And then nautical miles are different than actual miles.
I think it's because it's closer.
then daylight savings time.
Right. That completely changes
Mars is
everything.
in retrograde.
Either way, 19 damn hours on an airplane. I can understand.
First time I went back, I had 8-hour layover in Chicago from Waterloo. And then I had a 9-hour layover in London. And then when I arrived in South Africa, I had another 9 hours before my bus came to pick me up.
So you're home and you still got 9 more hours.
Yeah. Yep. So it took a total of 40 hours to get from here to home.
Really?
And I can't sleep on transport. So I was
can't
awake.
either.
Same.
I got home and everyone was like, "Oh, dude, shower."
Anybody over 6 feet, right?
Yep.
As I'm 6'2", you're about 6'3", 6'4".
6'5".
You're big. Can't
I
sleep.
always joke with my couples. I try to be as much as a fly on the wall as I can be, but I'm 6'5", so
Say if you are a giant fly, yes, you're a
Yes,
fly on
yes.
the wall. Yeah. In fact, you
I'm
got
a-
it. I was
a condor, kind
This
of.
is a perfect transition because on your website, I love this. The extroverted, 6'5" tall, cracks a joke whenever possible South African weirdo
Yep.
who will be spending the vast majority of your wedding day with you. My goal for your wedding, first, is to become your best friend and make sure your day is incredible. Second is to capture your story in a way that shows off your love as it is today, but also as it will be tomorrow. I think that is a great statement.
that's about it in a nutshell. I mean,
I love that. But because seriously, I mean, that was one of the things, like when you first called, the first time we talked, and I'm looking at your website and I'm looking at your information, and I see that, and the first part, I love the weirdo part just because that's funny. It puts people at ease, which I think is awesome because there's, weddings days it's such a stressful day for everybody. You want to make them, relax and actually enjoy themselves. But your goal, first is to become your best friend and make sure your day is incredible. So let's talk about that. So how do you connect with your couples?
so this is going to tie into a little bit of something I want to try and talk about later, which is what to look for when you're looking for videographers. But one of the most important things that I try to be conscious of, because I know I can overstep sometimes, is that I'm going to be, when you're getting married, you think about your partner, right? What you might not think about is that your photographer and videographer are going to be with you for longer on your wedding day than your partner is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, if we show up at 11 a.m. and you're not going to have your first look until 4 p.m. or 3 p.m., we're going to be with you for 4 hours longer than you're going to be with each other. So there's no point in me being a dreadful person to be around
Right.
if I'm going to be around you your whole wedding day.
Right.
So I that's part of my goal, is to make people comfortable, make sure they're having fun, know when to step away from a situation, know when to step out of the room, know when to just let things happen. It's also important to know. So you want to capture all the moments, but it's also important to know what moments not to capture, when to just let things happen, let the day happen. So that's part of why I say I want to become your best friend, is because I'm going to be with you
Right.
for the entirety of the most important day of your life. The worst thing that I can do is make that experience dreadful, make you regret having me there. That's the last thing I want. So that's my priority. I know myself well enough. I know I'm good enough that I'm going to get the footage I need. I've done it enough that I know what I'm going to get. I know roughly how to make it look good.
Right. In theory.
Right.
You're right.
At least get it on the screen, bare minimum.
Right.
But it's the soft skills, the things outside of actually making a video, that's where I try to be. That's where I really focus my attention.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's it makes such a difference. I mean, Andrew, you've seen plenty of couples that we've worked with, at Ultimate Entertainment, where we got to go do pictures with a photographer now, and it's like they're going in for like a root canal, it's like, oh, now we got to go do this, and they're dreading those moments, and it's because they have not connected with that photographer, that videographer, to be that. One of our other photographers we had on the show, was it Gracie Lou Photography?
I think so.
That she refers to herself as a photographer as like the 7th bridesmaid. If you've got 6 bridesmaids, she's the 7th. So you are, as the videographer, you're part of the wedding party. You don't have to wear the tux.
Basically,
It's kind of what it is. And following with them and being there with them. There's a lot of pressure that goes even from the video side. I mean, not even talking about the wedding and all of the moving parts. I mean, we've seen it with guests on the show. I mean, we're a couple idiots with 3 cameras and some lights. And I stole the lights from my kid, who was he was a streamer. He was on Twitch.
Okay.
And he had a little setup on his computer, and he had these lights set up and I think I even sold a mic from him actually when he was in high school, and he actually was making some money at it. He did pretty good at it. But people come in here, and it's intimidating. They see the cameras and they see the lights and there's microphones and there's all this stuff. And so now there's extra pressure on top of it. So when you get to somebody's wedding day and they've got all the pressure of their wedding day going on, and now there's a camera there that's documenting every little moment that goes along with that. So what are some of the things that you do to help kind of be that fly on the wall? How do you kind of blend in and kind of put them at ease? Is there anything that you kind of do process-wise?
The first thing I think about is, look, if I'm going to have a microphone on you at all points of your wedding day, I need to know when to also give you your privacy, right? That microphone, I make sure if it doesn't sync up with the camera, I'm not going to be able to hear it at all, right? So it's little things like that. Things like I always encourage my couples, and this includes talking with the photographer. Like I will talk with the photographer after your first look or after any special moments. We will just go away for a minute, like completely step around a corner and just give you guys some private time.
Right.
Because that to me is so important. So many couples go through their whole wedding day not spending a single minute alone with the person they're marrying. And that to me is, I mean, again, I'm getting married next year. I couldn't imagine doing that.
Right.
Right. Like I want to actually spend time with the person I'm marrying. So it's things like that. It's things like making sure you appreciate that this person's wedding day isn't my content day. This day isn't for me to get content. It's for me to help them remember their wedding day.
Right.
So if I'm imposing myself on the wedding day, they're not going to want to remember that.
Right.
You don't want to give them experience that they don't want to remember. So that's pretty much in essence.
And that's so applicable to any of us on the wedding side. The same thing with the DJ. If a DJ comes in and makes it all about them,
Exactly.
If my go-to jam is polkas, and it's polka Saturday, that's
hope
gonna
it
crush. It's one wedding. It's Aunt Irene up in Wisconsin. She loves polkas. But we've seen that with photographers. We've seen that with wedding coordinators. We've seen that with so many people that are out there that work in the wedding business that really make it more about themselves. You've got to get your shot. You've got to get your moment. It's all about what you're doing and your art and your camera and your stuff. And none of that is actually accurate. It is all about their day, their moment, their memories, and you working around what they're looking for their day. So let's talk about kind of how you get into that when you're working with the couples prior to the wedding itself, prior to the big day. How does your planning process work with the couples?
So one of the things I really focus on is finding out how I've got a scale of very emotional and sentimental to very party, upbeat. I've got scales like that where where it just helps me understand a little bit more about who the people are.
And do you do the scale, like with a scale? Is that something that you kind of keep track of just as you're talking to them? Kind of, you feel that, or do you like put yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? Are you fun? No,
I mean it's that all happens through conversation, and then I'll take notes. So what I do is I have my Google Calendar event, and I keep every single note from their entire wedding day in that calendar event, so that on the day I can just open that up and see what's important.
Right.
So that includes things like what's important to them. Are they doing anything special? For some people they have they've lost someone and they've got a piece of memorabilia for them. There's a bunch of different things like that I really want to make sure I know. Okay, during these moments, I'm going to leave you alone because that's not for me to capture. That's not something that they're going to want in their wedding video, or that they actually would prefer. Even if they did want it in the wedding video, they would prefer to just have it private, to just be themselves. There's a big thing for me because I've got microphones on them. I'm so sensitive of making sure that they have their privacy, making sure that they know that your wedding day, again, isn't about me. It's not about my content. It's about what I am there for is to help you remember the special things that happened. So if I'm going to be imposing myself on those special things, then I'm not doing a good job. To me, that's not what it's supposed to be.
And kind of prior to everything kind of coming into place, do you kind of set up, okay, here's where I will likely, this is where I'm going to be involved. This is where I'm going to back off. This is where you're probably going to be, on camera. This is where you're probably not going to be. So they kind of know or kind of have a feeling what's coming or how things are going.
I would say that happens about 50% of the time. Okay. Most of the time people will they don't have any particular moments like that where they say, okay, we want to be left alone during this point. So at that point, then it's more about figuring it out for myself and saying, okay, if I can see them both getting emotional, if I can see one of them starting to cry, I'm just going to take a quick step back. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's again, that comes with the experience of having done it for a couple of years now, is knowing where certain moments are going to be, what moments are special to people. And that also involves having all those conversations before and knowing what they're most looking forward to on the wedding day. For some people, what they're most looking forward to is the first look. For other people, what they're most looking forward to is a party bus.
Right.
Right. So for the people who are most looking forward to the first look, I know I'm going to get the initial reaction and then I'm going to back off straight away and give them 5 minutes to themselves. For people who are most looking forward to the party bus, I'm going to hang around for a bit longer. Get a little bit more of that footage, get a little bit more. Some of them we don't even need to give them a minute. They immediately want to get into doing fun stuff,
right?
Doing fun poses and stuff. And so it kind of varies from couple to couple. So it's really important to me to know all of that beforehand, know what they're like beforehand, less scheduling things out and more just, this is the kind of people that they are. These are the kind of moments that they want privately. These are the kind of moments that they really want me to capture.
See, I like that because we work on a very similar style. There's a lot of photographers, videographers, and even DJs that are very timeline oriented.
Right.
This is going to happen at 5:15. This is going to happen at 5:45. This is going to happen at 6:03. And really lock into stuff like that. They may be a little bit of a variance because there's always that ish factor at weddings. Right. Whereas my philosophy when it comes to weddings, when I talk to couples from the DJ side of stuff, I tell them, we're going to go off your photographer's timeline. The DJ's timeline, really not all that crucial. What's better than a timeline, and it sounds like what you're kind of implying, is more of an order of events, so they kind of know what's coming, when it's going to be there, and just know that you're going to be there to capture those order events. So you're not telling them, okay, now we have to do toast. Now I have my camera ready. Toasts, so you're not forcing them into something. You're letting them actually organically enjoy their day, and you're just capturing all of that. I'll
never forget, there was a wedding I had where the couple. So I always eat at the same time as the wedding party. That way, if I miss anything, it's just them eating, right? Because I'm yet to meet anyone who says I really want video footage of me eating my food.
So do you sit like right next to the groom?
No, I sit across from them.
Right.
Yeah,
just face to face.
Yeah.
Hey, you comfortable?
Hold another microphone out. Yeah. So they had just got food. The photographer and I just got food. We just sat down, and I mean, I literally had just taken my first sip of my drink and had maybe taken 2 bites of food. And the DJ was like, "We need to give toast right now." And all the people giving toast were like, "Oh, we just started eating."
Right.
I didn't have my camera set up. I didn't have anything turned on, and so I was like, "Hey, that's not great. Most people are in line getting food in a separate room. We don't want to be starting speeches right now. We want to wait till everyone's back," because the speeches were all super fun, and I mean.
Right.
People were super outgoing and tons of jokes. Speeches took like 20 minutes and everyone was laughing the whole way through. We don't need to be doing it at 6.
Right.
We can wait 20 minutes to do that.
Yeah, no, I tell people all the time, just to to get my little corny joke in there. You don't need to be married to your timeline. Right. And it's, thanks. I've had in 30 years of doing this, I've had one bride, and I actually kind of helped to steer her away from it, and she was so by the clock. Like, she told, I remember in our initial meetings and like on her timeline that she did fill out with us because she wanted one, and she had her grand entrance at 6:46, not 6:45, 6:46.
Yep.
And to her credit, she had everybody lined up and ready to go, and that grand entrance 6:46. The thing was, though, is that once we got everybody lined up for the grand entrance, now she's stressed out about toasts. We haven't even gotten in the door yet. We haven't even gotten to dinner yet, and she's stressing out about toasts. And then we get into, we get the grand entrance in, we get to dinner, and we haven't gotten to toast yet, but now she's stressing out about the timeline for first dances. And finally, she had kind of there was a quiet moment where she wasn't surrounded by chaos, and I stopped her. I'm like, hey, you're missing your wedding. You're worrying about things that are coming up. This is my job. My job is to help make your day as stress-free as I can. I mean, this is long before our stress-free was ever even a concept. This is just what I
Is
did.
that also a corny joke?
Right? No, no. That's actually where the name came from. A whole different story. Where the name came from Our Stress-Free Wedding is because for years, when a couple would book Ultimate Entertainment, I would finish the conversation with, "Hey, thanks for booking with us. My job is to help make your day as stress-free as possible." And for the longest time, the response was always, "Okay, cool," and end of conversation. It's just a nice way of saying goodbye.
Right.
And about 2017, I would say that, and the responses from brides started changing. And it was, "Really? Do you mean that?" Like, well,
yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Yes.
So that's where Our Stress-Free Wedding came from. That's where the name came from. But with this bride, when I told her, "Hey, I got you. Enjoy your dinner. Enjoy toasts. I got the dance. We'll take care of
figure it
all
out."
of that." And as soon as I kind of pointed it out to her, she did that kind of deep breath. She's like, "Cool."
Yeah.
And she had a blast.
Right.
But it's like that DJ that insisted toasts need to be at 6. Like, no.
they don't.
There's my favorite word when it comes to weddings is ish, ISH, and it has magical properties twice. First, in the beginning planning processes, when you don't know times yet, you may not know exactly when when the reception's going to be. You don't know your guest count 100%. You don't know a lot of those details in place yet. So you're in your ish stage of planning. When you get to the wedding day, you could have a perfectly written out timeline by the minute. Absolutely. And then you learn that there's two kinds of time in the world. There's the time you write down, and then there's wedding time. And wedding time is ish time. And a true professional like yourself knows that ish time is the time that's a lot less stressful. And the couple knows what's coming, but they don't have to worry about, "It's 6:14, we haven't done toast yet."
Right.
Well, you're still eating.
Right.
Enjoy your
The
dinner.
only time that you have to stick to on your wedding day is when the ceremony starts.
Yeah.
And even then,
You've
got a
variance.
20-minute
Right.
sort of gap.
Now, I tell brides all the time, if you want to really mess with your fiance, right before you say "I do," pause. My wife did it to me, so I'm carrying it forward. In my head, I'm thinking, "Say I do, say I do, say I do, say I do."
I might.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Can I think about it? I mean, I got the dress.
Dress is nice, but
Don't give me any ideas.
Right? I can see Sarah pull that one on you. Oh, no, she'll kill you if you do it. No, Sarah will do it. It'd be fun. His fiance. Yep.
Okay.
She would be. Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
I thought about this could be a spoiler, but what about wedding vows to the lyrics of "Never Gonna Give You Up"?
Just say it.
just say the words.
I'm never going to give you up.
Never gonna let you down.
Never let you down.
Never gonna run around and hurt you. Just see who catches on. And
He gets it. We're doing.
If you get through more than 3 sentences and everyone hasn't caught on.
right.
we're no strangers to love.
That is.
You know the rules, and so do I.
We are doing a wedding in 2 weeks that the officiants got permission from the couple. Actually, the couple specifically requested this to do the opening line from Prince. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. Electric word life, and that's a pretty long time. But I'm here to tell you, there's something else." It's "Let's Go Crazy," from Prince. But yeah, they've asked us to do like the whole reverb effect, like from the song. So they are so excited to have that be the opening moment of their ceremony.
That's
Which but that goes to a great thing. So many couples get so caught up in the traditional pageantry of a ceremony, right? And as a videographer, you would appreciate this. What we always encourage, make it your own. If you guys are huge fans of Star Wars, come into the Star Wars theme song.
Right.
If you're huge fans of, I don't know, Family Guy.
Oh, I got one.
What?
So when I would talk with wedding parties, sometimes the bridesmaids and groomsmen would come into different songs than the wedding couple.
Like for the grand entrance.
Grand entrance, yeah. I would sometimes joke and say, "All right, wedding party looks like you're coming into the theme of Stone Cold Steve Austin, professional wrestler, glass breaks, beer drinking." And a lot of times the wedding party's like, "Yes." I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. You're coming into this song. One time, my bride and groom were like, "Wait, we have our tag team titles out in the car. Can we do that?" I'm like, "You're kidding me." They actually had legitimate wrestling title belts came in tag team champions, and why not? You know, their bride and groom, the guests of honor, came into the theme of Stone Cold Steve Austin, a professional WWE wrestler. It was phenomenal. It was great.
Did you ask why? Why did they have belts?
Pro wrestling fans?
That would be my real of all.
So
of all the
sometimes
things in
you
your
just
car.
say, sure.
Well, you
I
totally
wasn't
go
going to
with it.
question why. One of the greatest grand entrances I've ever done. Not going to question them. Nope. Go get those. This is going to be epic.
I love it. You know, and the moral of the story with all of this, if you are planning your wedding right now, lean on your experts. You know, talk to your videographer, talk to your DJ. Trust me, you don't have to do the traditional, you know, the Here Comes the Bride, you know, or, you know, Pocky Bell's Canon in D, which is a great song. It's a beautiful song, but it can be any. I mean, if you guys are big Led Zeppelin fans, walk down the aisle to Zeppelin. I mean,
Right.
do what you want to do. Heck, I've been waiting for the grand entrance. My goal, cartwheels. I don't care if it's the bridesmaids or the groomsmen. I want someone to do cartwheels.
My favorite, every single person came into a different Disney song.
Disney songs.
Yep.
Yes.
Every single one of them. And I was like, great. Love that.
Done.
It's different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make it yours. You know, a lot of couples will get caught up in the what will, you know, Aunt Irene think? What will grandma think? What will our guests think?
Who cares?
No, that's true.
Who cares?
This is your day.
Yeah.
This is your moment. And honestly, this is like the one day of your lives together where you truly get to be selfish.
Be selfish.
You do. You know, and
People
not
will
in
tell-
a negative
my
connotation
favorite thing
way.
is people say, but they'll accuse us of being selfish. Yes.
It's your day.
It's not an accusation if it's true.
No, 100%.
Do it.
Yeah.
Be selfish. Yeah.
Enjoy it. Make it yours. Yeah. You know, make it yours. And I think that's so important because, you know, if you know, maybe you are a little bit more formal, a little bit more stiff, that's fine. Right. But if you're someone who's like, hey, SpongeBob, bam, yes, walk down the aisle to SpongeBob, do it. Come on, campfire song. Who doesn't love the campfire song? You at least know that one,
Oh,
right?
of course.
Thank God.
Wasn't about to sing it.
Some of the greatest movie references.
I
of
saw
all
you
time
getting
is-
ready.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I thought about it.
Squidward. Good.
And that's, you know, there's been such a rise in elopements recently.
Yes.
Where people are like, I don't care. I don't want the big wedding. That we're
Right.
just going to go get married with our best friends and that's it. Great.
Yes. 100%.
You don't need to do the whole big thing if you don't want to.
Right.
You know, it's your day and that period.
So now, there was a question I was going to ask you, and this actually would fit in with this. You do drones as well, or you have a drone as well. So if you had a couple, here's a thought: if you have a couple that wants to do like a micro wedding, like an elopement kind of style, where maybe they're not going away to New York or something like that, they just want to have a little, you know, their own little private moment. You could hit that with a drone. You know,
I could
record the whole thing from
but
up
I
above.
wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
Because they're very loud.
Okay. Okay.
Like drones are extremely loud. Yeah, I mean there's propellers.
So
spinning
great
it.
for the big shots, you
Yeah.
know, kind of
Yep.
the overall shots.
Yep. Great when no one really cares what it sounds like.
Okay.
But and I mean I could. It's possible. But
I know nothing about
Yeah.
them. I just know I
Yeah.
want one.
Yeah.
I have no reason whatsoever, but I feel like I need a drone.
I'll
Yeah.
bring mine next time.
You have one?
Yeah.
Again, why are we friends? I'm learning all this stuff out now.
You needed an employee.
he pushes the
I
button.
need some.
He
yeah.
does. He is the
Yeah.
button guy.
You're
Yeah.
the sound guy. I'm the video button pusher guy. So. All right, back to you
and
two.
you're very good at it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He is. He is. I love that. It's wonderful. So, all right, back on track. So we're talking to Josh Voigt with the imagery here, and Tim Voigt Media. I'm sorry, I said the wrong name.
good.
Overall, what can couples expect when they hire you?
So what couples can expect, one is there's been a horrible trend recently with videographers where they're taking up to a year to deliver their videos. Which I can't stand that. It infuriates me. So I refuse to take longer than 10 weeks to deliver a film.
That's fantastic. That is a great turnaround.
That will not take any longer than that. Two, doesn't matter which, so I have 3 packages that people can book. Doesn't matter which one you book, you get a full recording of the ceremony, you get a full recording of the speeches on top of your actual video. Because to me, you know, I see people watching their video for the first 6 months after their wedding. The wedding video is like their favorite thing, right? They get to watch it back, they get to see all the moments. After that time, it's watching the full ceremony and seeing the little moments that I didn't include in the video that they're like, oh, that was awesome. That was so fun. It was so good to see that again. You know, hearing the like inside jokes that don't make sense to put in a wedding video,
Right.
but when you can watch them back on the full speeches, that people are like, that was awesome. I'm so glad I have that.
Right.
So always, I see people charging an extra $1,500 for a ceremony edit, and I'm like, I have to edit it anyway to include those pieces into your wedding video.
Have you noticed, kind of along those same lines, because I've noticed it in the DJ industry as well, the upsell has become
Yeah.
the biggest. I mean, there's DJs out of the Cedar Rapids market that I know for sure that is upselling, making announcements. If you want them to announce your wedding party or announce first dances or say anything on the damn microphone,
And my voice has a price, you know.
Basically, yeah.
apparently it does. So what you're saying is, and it's the same philosophy that we have. You know, it's the important things, the obvious things, things you know every videographer should do.
Exactly.
I mean, the ceremony, the toast. I mean, the rest of it, the dance and stuff. That's the bonus stuff.
That's great. Yeah, that's awesome. You know, everyone wants to remember what it was like to do their first dance. But it's your wedding day, so you want to remember the wedding. You want to remember the whole wedding, right? So it would be a bit weird for me as a videographer to be like, no, I don't record the whole wedding ceremony, because then you've got to get a friend to stick a phone up there anyway and record the whole thing.
Right.
So might as well just make it look good.
Absolutely. And you said, you know, you use you've got 3 different cameras. So you've got the camera that you're holding, you've got 2 steady cams. So you're getting a variety of angles for that. You kind of get the, you know, the more action shot with you, and then you've got the static stuff coming in from the post cams or the stick cams. So that's, you know, one of the things they can expect is a great turnaround time, 10 weeks, which is awesome, including the ceremony and the speeches. What else will they go from there?
From there, I mean, it really depends. So I always tell people, if there's any particular moments that you want a separate video of, you just let me know and I'll deliver it. I'm not going to, again, upsell you for people have had choreographed first dances and they want to remember that. Sure, why not? But then, you know, all the stuff I mentioned earlier. So someone who's actually going to be fun on your wedding day.
Right.
This isn't going to bring you down. I've also been a wedding photographer for a while, and then decided I like doing video more, so kept doing that. So someone who actually works well with photographers, because I know what they need. I know what all of their expectations. I mean, yeah, I could keep going, but
no, that is awesome. Let's talk about just real quickly. And I know we kind of bounced off it real quick when we were kind of talking about like ish stuff with timeline stuff, but flexibility. You know, you plan things out with a couple. You've got a kind of a general list of where you're going, and then out of the blue, let's say a family member flies in from some place that no one's ever heard of, like South Africa or something like that, and they're like, "Ooh, we need to capture this," and you're like, "Oh no, it's not on my list." You're someone that's going to be like, hey.
Yeah. So I see people offering like different packages where they're like, I'm going to capture this and this and this and this, and then other packages is I'm going to capture this. All of my wedding videos, I do the same thing. My different packages are what's included in the final video and how long I'm there.
Yeah.
The rest of it, I'm going to do the same thing for all of them.
Right.
So if something happens on your wedding day that you're probably going to want to remember that, I'm going to capture it.
No, I've always had the
That's why I'm
philosophy that
there.
you don't penalize a couple based on their budget.
No.
You know, like there's DJs out there, for example, that will bring, depending, like if you buy their bottom package, you get, you know, their bottom package lights or their bottom package speakers or something like that. And, you know, if you spend more with them, you get their better lights and their better speakers. And I look at it 2 ways. One, I would never penalize a couple because of their budget. 2, you're representing yourself.
Right.
And so if if a couple can only afford our 4-hour crappy package, right? So we bring our 4-hour crappy speakers and our 4-hour crappy lights. Their guests, everyone at a wedding is a prospective client, right? I mean, everybody knows somebody who's getting married.
Right.
So the guests who don't know that, they can only afford their crappy package, they have much better equipment back at the office.
Right.
They don't know that. And the same thing would go for a videographer. Yes. So why would you only give them X, you know, because that's all they can afford? When you're representing yourself, you want to show them everything that you can do, right?
And that's not to say, you know, for some people, yes, we're just frankly just out of their budget. That happens.
Well, no, pricing's a different thing, but it's piecemealing. It's you know, if you can afford our better stuff, we're going to do better. If you can afford to pay me to do better video,
because you maybe can't afford as much.
Exactly.
This is what I give you. If you want to pay more so that I can be there for more hours, you get an extra video. You get
but that's just time. I
extra
mean, that's
services,
just
basically. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like for my top package, within 2 days they get a short 1-minute video.
Wow. Okay.
So like that's included.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I'm going to change what I capture on the day.
Right. Right.
Right. Like, yeah. And if people want the raw footage, so completely unedited footage, that also is going to cost more. But I'm not going to dumb down the way I capture anything. I'm not going to dumb down the way I edit. I'm going to keep doing my best. Doesn't matter which package it is.
And that's my point, is that if somebody goes with your lower package, it's not, well, I'm not going to try as hard because they didn't pay me as much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I've got people who booked me 2 years ago when I started. I was charging like $600 for a wedding, right? I had people this year who were paying me that much, and I still, again, as if they were paying me my highest package.
Right.
That's just how I filmed it, even though for all intents and purposes I was losing money on that.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You're not there to accommodate their budget. You're there to capture their wedding.
Right.
So that's what I'm going to do.
That's perfect. That is a great answer. So when you started in videography, you did not start with weddings as your target. No. You kind of started, thinking marketing, thinking maybe Hollywood. I don't know. Maybe you're going to next Steven Spielberg. Who knows? Why did you kind of dial in on the wedding industry? Sure. What keeps you?
So here? I'm split 50-50 between weddings and commercials.
Sure.
So I do have a commercial business as well. But weddings, it just, there's a certain joy in knowing that in 50 years time, someone can say to their grandkids, hey, you're getting married soon. Here's what my vows were. Mm-hmm. This is what our wedding looked like. This is what my dress looked like. This is, in 20 years time, when your kids are growing up and they say, hey, what was grandma like? Mm-hmm. You can show them a video of her. You can show a photo of her or a video of her walking down the aisle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that to me, when that struck me, that's what I was providing people. I was like, okay, I'm not going to leave.
Interesting. It's interesting the way that you put that. When it struck you, when it occurred to you that, wow, you're actually impacting somebody, 10, 20, 30 years in the future.
Yep. This isn't just for you, it's for your kids. It's for your grandkids.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah. Ooh, did you practice that? That was really well done.
No, but I should. This is why we recorded.
This is why. And we do all the editing after this.
Don't take that part out.
We don't do any editing. No. The only editing is, cutting out the talking before I say 3, 2, 1, go, and all of the editing that we talk about after we're like, hey, thanks for coming, cut, and then we just throw in the cute little ending thing, and that is the extent of my editing skills.
Yeah, sometimes accidental things happen. Phone ring.
Okay, so we start, in full disclosure on this show, 45 seconds into recording, the phone rang. So we started over 45 seconds. Now, maybe we would have edited.
All built up and ready to go.
At one time, you disconnected a camera with your foot, and so
we have done some editing. I'm learning.
Not,
much.
Oh,
Hollywood no,
level,
not much.
But...
Oh God, no. There is a lot of starting over and swearing involved when it comes to any editing that I do. I don't know. Maybe I could help you. Do you know anything about Adobe? All I know is that I hate it.
We'll release a blooper reel, or a gag reel sometime.
People would never watch another show if they saw the...
Yes, they'd want to watch more.
The mess that goes into it. Yeah. Hey, blooper reels so. I'm just saying.
And we're funny.
Yeah.
Ish.
To ourselves.
It's actually like
ISA.
it's one of my favorite things with weddings is those funny, silly little moments. Just posting them on social media. Just you get all the grand moments and all those big, beautiful, awesome things that happen, but then every now and then someone's walking down the aisle and they accidentally burp, and it's like, oh,
it's the goofy shit.
Yeah.
100%. So on that, what is your favorite moment at a wedding?
Ooh, favorite moment. That's a tough one. There's.
I'm all about the gotcha questions.
Oh yeah, journalism 101. I think I'll tell you my favorite pose, at least my favorite prompt.
All right, we'll start there.
Is I always have people during sunset when it's all pretty and everything in the background. I have them stand and face towards the sun and then smack and grab each other's butts. Okay. Favorite prompt.
Do you want that to be your final answer?
I think, that's always my favorite moment at a wedding. The butt grab.
The butt grab.
man, individual moments is tough, but I think one of my one of the things I've recently enjoyed a lot was I had a couple who were reading letters to each other, and they always say the same thing. Like he always says, what was it? It was, I love you, lots, bunches, and so much, or something like that. And in her letter, she wrote the same thing because it was cute because he always said that. And then he wrote the exact same thing. And so she read
without them knowing it.
They had no idea.
Surprise each other.
They had no idea.
Right.
And so he went first and read it out loud. And there was that moment of realization for her where she was like, no. We wrote the exact same thing. And she was like standing there being like, oh, am I going to have to change this? Like freaking out. I remember sitting there like once she said it out loud, laughing my butt off because I was like, that was gold.
I think
Just
that's
pure-
awesome.
yeah.
How cute is that?
And that's why I say it's like those little moments, that's not going to happen for every couple.
Right.
That's no two couples are going to do the same thing. So like knowing, okay, after that moment, they were giggling about it, they were laughing about it. I'm not going to step away after that.
Right.
Like that's the gold. But then for other people, they do something like that and they would both start crying and then, okay, step out for that.
I think that's an awesome moment.
Yeah,
So do you have, is there a wedding that sticks out in your mind? Is there like, of all the weddings you've shot, is there one of them that kind of sticks out and you're like, oh yeah, that wedding?
That was gold.
Is there anything like,
So funny enough, the one that you've been playing on that monitor the whole time.
Yeah.
So that one, guy was from Brazil, and when he arrived, he came to the US for school. So same as me, came for college. Didn't speak a word of English when he arrived, and found a group of international friends, and they all just became like best friends, and all of them were in the wedding party, and it was awesome. And that for me was just, it was crazy because I could feel like I was in that situation.
Sure.
Like I could see, I appreciated what they had gone through because I had gone through the same thing, being so far away from home. And then we found out that his mom came to the wedding, and sort of surprise deal. And yeah, I mean, just her being there, everyone was in tears. And yeah, I mean, at one point, the best man spoke directly to her in Portuguese, so no one else understood what he was saying.
Oh,
he was
that's
just delivering
cool.
a speech straight to them. And it was just, it was like one of those moments where I went home and I was like, oh, that's why I do this.
Yeah.
Because, those are the things that people want to remember.
I love it. There's so many amazing moments in weddings, and it is kind of hard to pinpoint one, but I mean something like that. And what a great coincidence that we're running that video. We did not set that up, so that's awesome. So
all of this is scripted,
right? I do have a teleprompter. I just don't have it on right now. I'm winging it. So my favorite question to always ask everybody is, you've got a couple that loves your work. They love everything you do. You are absolutely their number one pick. You're the only thing they want in the world, but you are booked. You cannot help them in any way at all. Yeah. How do you help them out? How do you direct them to find someone with your caliber, your care, your attention?
So there's a couple of groups that I'm a part of where wedding photographers and videographers, and then there's one that's just for videographers in Iowa. I'll immediately go and post it or message individual people and say, hey, are you free? Do you have this date available? It's tough because there's not nearly as many wedding videographers as photographers in the state.
You're right.
Nowhere near. And so most of us are like completely booked for months and months and months. I mean, I know some people who are already halfway booked their 2024 calendar.
Sure.
So that one is hard, but I'll always try and at least, if I can't find someone who does have the date available, I'll give them a few more names and say, reach out to this person, reach out to this person.
And what qualities do they have that you would feel comfortable recommending them? Like what kind of qualities do you look for in other videographers that you would feel comfortable recommending them? So
nothing to do with the quality of their work. I firmly believe that most people are going to be happy with their wedding video.
Okay.
I haven't seen many instances where someone has said my wedding video was so bad.
Oh, you didn't see this dude that I saw with the iPhone, and
I can believe it. Right. So my entire recommendations list is based on testimonials that they've gotten, and if I've actually spent time with that person, if I actually know the person, if I've seen what it's like to work with them, if I've had conversations with other photographers about how fun they are, how good they are. I have a couple of people who are, I know personally who have like awesome portfolios, and they thousands and thousands of Instagram followers and Facebook followers and whatever. And every photographer I talk with who has worked with that person has said that they're a nightmare. And so like, okay, this person's got, 15,000 Instagram followers, but not a single photographer that I know enjoyed working with them. So then I'm not.
Oh,
no
you
way
can
I'm
be
gonna
really good at
recommend
what you do and be a complete ass.
Right. And that's why I say it has nothing to do with the quality of the work. I don't recommend based on that. I recommend based on this person's going to be with you
Yeah.
your whole wedding day.
The why, the connection,
Exactly.
what you have with them.
Is this person going to try and turn your wedding day into their own content day?
Yeah.
If so, there's no way I'm recommending them. Never.
I like
I would, and that's one of my main tips for people when looking for videographers. Make sure that the videographer isn't going to turn your wedding day into their own content day. Because, then you're not going to enjoy yourself. And at the end of the day, you want to enjoy your wedding.
That's outstanding.
And so if someone is going to be spending your entire wedding day pressuring you into getting Instagram stories and pressuring you into getting social media content and pressuring you into getting all of these little moments that they don't need but would be fun to capture, then you don't want that person there. You want the person there who's going to make sure that you actually enjoy your wedding day and then make sure that you enjoy revisiting that through the video.
It's awesome. It's a great answer. I love it. Just something that we've kind of started asking people. First, what did you think about being on the show?
That was great.
Did you have fun? Did we cover everything that you wanted to cover?
I think so. Yeah.
Awesome.
Check your script.
Check your notes. Yeah.
Make sure
There's a
I
couple
said
things I've
everything
got
you
to
wanted
go
me to
back
show.
on. There's page
Let's see.
2. No, we need that in there. So, oh, this one's highlighted.
That one's blue. I don't know.
That's the Andrew notes. Who would you recommend that we focus on for shows? Is there someone else that we should have? I mean, is there, or topics that you think we should cover that would help couples in the planning process?
So one thing I've seen a lot of people stress about is wedding planners.
Okay.
Because it feels like they get halfway through the day and they're like, shit, this would have been so much easier if we had had a wedding planner.
I agree, and we've had a couple. We've had a couple on the show. We've had Sierra, which is Eventful Happenings, and we've had was it Carolyn, CM Planning out of Chicago.
Yes.
And you're right, and wedding planners, especially in Iowa, actually it's a lot like videographers. I think they get kind of a bad rap in Iowa. Because especially with wedding planners, it's usually, Aunt Betty, who I planned my wedding back in 1986. I'm like, okay, it's not 1980. We're not doing the puffy dresses. So
although it could be coming back.
Could be
coming back.
Yeah, no, I graduated in 87. I remember how ugly those dresses were. Don't bring them back.
I remember someone once told me that every 40 years fashion
it totally cycles
itself.
It does.
And I was like, no, that's rubbish. And it does.
No,
that is what is presently happening.
I am like 2 years away from wearing my cool clothes again. I can't
so
wait.
you and I's homecoming is coming up. My wife works in marketing at UNI, and their whole float is 80s themed. And so we have these awesome 80s outfits with the super puffed out pants, flowers everywhere.
I had the tight
headband.
rolled pants.
Yep.
Pop collar.
That's the one.
I was cool. I had hair.
Oh, and we're going super hippie. You had it.
Really? Yeah. Come on, new guy. Yes. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm just gonna keep it. I'm changing one of the pictures. A picture of me with hair. Because my kid still gives me crap about that.
Do it.
No.
Put it above the stress-free wedding sign.
I'm just gonna get a hat. It's all right. At least it's not as shiny today.
Hey, it's winter. It's almost winter, so.
Hats are important.
Hats
For
are
those
good,
of us that are follically challenged, hats are crucial. I learned that lesson last year. Hey, couple cool things coming up. Future shows. I think our next show I'm really excited about. It's Vows Des Moines.
Yeah.
That is going to be a great show. Micro wedding venue out of Des Moines. They're brand new, and they are they're so you can customize the room, move walls to customize the room. It's going to be super cool. Who else we have? We have Bambino's coming up. They do treats, cookies, desserts, and Donna from Bambino's has an amazing story. She's a breast cancer survivor, and so a portion of all of their sales go to breast cancer, and Breast Cancer Awareness Month is coming up here.
Terrific.
So we're going to do that. We've got Natalie from the Finery. We're going to get into dresses and talk about that. So some great shows coming down the line. January is our next wedding show. January 15th. Registration is live on the platform right now, so you can register for that as well. well.
Looking forward
And
to
just
that.
like our previous show, that one is an exclusive Our Stress-Free Wedding vendor show, which means only parts of Our Stress-Free Wedding are welcome to the show. You've got to be on the platform to be at the show, and we do that for you. We want to make sure that everybody at that show treats you the way that you deserve to be treated for your big day. I mean, you listen to everything that Josh has talked about, not making it about you, making it about the couple and their big day is what is crucial to making your day amazing. Hey, we really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. As always, please like and subscribe. Andrew, what do they do?
Comment that comment in the comment section below.
See, I tried saying that in the close of the last show and I stumbled over it, so I'm going to make him say it again.
Comment that comment in the comment section below.
Absolutely.
Nailed
Hey,
it.
thanks for watching, and you have a stress-free day.